Today we're going to do an astrology reading for the song Hot Shit by Cardi B featuring Kanye West and Little Durk. And yeah, this will be my first time doing a song and a music video. And the song just came out a couple weeks ago. Music video just came out a couple days ago. So we have a precise birth time for the chart of the song, July 1st, 2022. I put it at midnight Los Angeles time, which would be the earliest in the continental US where it could be streamed. It's also the home of the music industry. I'm not sure if that's where Cardi B lives, but certainly a place where she is likely to be at a lot of the time, as well as Kanye. And Little Durk, I assume, maybe. I don't know. But that's where I put the birth time of the song. So I'm going to use Vedic astrology, Indian astrology techniques to really dive into this, and it should be interesting. So my initial impression of the song, I've heard it a few times now, I've seen the music video a couple times. I mean, my initial impression of this song is it's not really about that much. It's very kind of braggadocio and kind of, I guess, confrontational, kind of rap battle-y, aggressive, kind of like, amping you up, music to work out to, or, music to, I saw some video of people dancing to the song that was really, fun to watch, like a choreographed dance. Yeah. Let's just see if there's any description of the song that could add an extra context before I dive into the reading. I don't know if there is here. Oh, interesting. Look at this. Cardi B talked about the song in 2 live streams, describing it as masculine and revealing she had it since 2019. So yeah, this is the lead single to her second album, I believe. I think that's also important. Jason Lee revealed the song. That's kind of Jason Lee, the guy from the Kevin Smith movies. The My Name is Earl guy. Maybe that's a different Jason Lee. I don't know. Yeah, let's see. Anything else interesting here? Well, she had, maybe the sample. Let's see what it says about that. Sampling a song called Electric Boogie. And you hear that in one part of the song where somebody says, it's electric. So electricity, Cardi herself says it's a very masculine song. And it's very, like I said, it feels like going to war, and like she says this thing in the song about how the only thing she wouldn't call a B word over is for a truce. So she's in like full war mode in this song, and Little Durk is as well. Kanye bringing a lot of that energy as well. So it's a very much like going into battle mentality kind of song. And so with that as a little bit of context, whether you've heard it or not, we could dive in and see what this reveals about astrology, and what astrology reveals about this song that might not be immediately obvious. So we're going to look at the Indian signs as well as the 12 regular zodiac signs. The Indian signs are called nakshatras. So, and they're divided into 4 little sections as well called padas. So just so you know. So we're starting off with the ascendant of the song is in Aquarius, in the sign of Purva Bhadrapada. This is the sign of like really intense, fiery transformation at the end of Aquarius, which is about really futuristic ideas and things that are advancing the conversation of whatever's being dealt with. And so having the ascendant in Purva Bhadrapada at the very end of Aquarius, and that's a double air element because Aquarius is air, and the third pada or section of Purva Bhadrapada is also air. So it's very like, which has to do with communication and words and ideas. And so there's something about this song that has a really airy element to it right off the bat. That's very like, it's not necessarily about it saying anything that important, but it's just about the communication being very fiery and transformative, regardless of what it's actually saying. because that's the essence of Purva Bhadrapada, is just transformational um, fire, basically. And it's a very fiery song, very masculine energy, as Cardi herself said. And so, yeah, and you got two male features, so it has a majority of male performers, rapping on the song. And yeah, so then you got that ascendant is in conjunction with Neptune, which means it's kind of also even more like creative and futuristic. It's interesting because something about the song felt to me immediately kind of generic, but when I started to hear it like the second and third time, I thought, no, this is actually, well, the first thing that stood out to me was the bass. The kick drum of the song is just incredible. It's just one of the coolest sounding kick drums I've ever heard. And it just stands out no matter how I listen to it, whether it's on headphones or just on my phone speaker or like a Bluetooth speaker. It's just so well produced that there's something kind of explosive about it. So there's something futuristic about the production of the song, that's for sure. And then as I heard the song a few more times, it started to be more and more clear to me all the things that were unique about it. Again, the music of it is very subtly creative in a really deep way, because the use of the sample just coming in once or twice during Cardi's verse and never coming back is really creative and unique. And so it's not like a repeating sample. You just have this one sample where it's just somebody saying randomly smoking dope, and there's no context whatsoever between that sample and what she's saying. And then there's another sample saying it's electric. So it's kind of just like this random, just, like off, it has this very spontaneous feel to it, even though this is a song that she was working on for 3 years, really. And the producers behind the scene that she was working with were probably working on. And yeah, Kanye is credited as a producer on it. And so, I'm not getting into the lyrics yet. I mean, the song is called Hot Shit, and Purva Bhadrapada is literally, it's about alchemy and transformation through heat, through fire. And so, traditionally in alchemy, you have the idea of turning feces or shit into gold. And the process you would do that with would involve heat. So, this idea of hot shit, like on one level it sounds just very superficial and like it's just about like whatever. It's kind of just like it's a very superficial kind of slang saying that doesn't mean that much. It just means like it's cool or something. But on a deeper level, if we look at how that relates to this nakshatra, Purva Bhadrapada, I mean, if somebody's really fired up to do something, to go into war, to compete with people that they might be in conflict with, that are threatening their survival or threatening their ability to thrive beyond just survival as an individual or something like that, which is a lot of what just hip hop in general is about. It's about, overcoming odds. Many themes in hip hop of this kind are about, self empowerment and sort of like just having the energy and the motivation to really overcome obstacles and achieve what you set out to achieve, and to not settle for what other people are trying to put the boxes they're trying to put you into. And so, yeah, and then you have Neptune here at the fourth pada of Purva Bhadrapada in Pisces, where it gets more mystical. And so there's something even more like transcendent that's actually in this song. So the song is really interesting in that way. And then when we look, something I was noticing is the placements of Mars, Venus, and the moon. Like all three of them are in their own signs for this song, which is incredible. And it's an interesting, and Jupiter. I mean, all I can really say about that is like the song is just kind of like destined to just be like successful, because you also have the part of fortune in the first house at the very end of Danishta. And I'm going to break this down more as I continue, but like Danishta is all about orchestration. It's like Shravana and Danishta, these two signs going from the middle of Capricorn into the beginning of Aquarius. Um, these nakshatras are really focused around music, and Shravana is symbolized by an ear. It's listening. Dhanishta is focused on sort of orchestrating and putting a bunch of pieces together in a really novel way. And so um, having the part of fortune at the very end of Dhanishta for this chart, it shows that it's going to have really good fortune in how it's composed. It's very meticulously and effectively composed in a way that's quite futuristic as well, because it's going into Aquarius. And so it's just like a really cool, it achieves what it set out to achieve. The song does totally. And you also have Saturn in that first house, which is like showing there's a deep knowledge of the rules of what makes like a really effective, like cool modern hip hop song. So Cardi B is like, defining what is contemporary with this song in a sense, and she's defining what's cool in a sense. So in a sense, she's like transforming. um I'm not really sure what she's transforming, but the song is basically transforming, the perception of what a modern rap song sounds like, you know. So and it succeeds at doing that. That's what the part of fortune there means, and that's what the Saturn means, that it knows the rules, because Saturn's all about rules. It knows the rules of how to put this all together. Having both of those in the first house is really powerful. Having Neptune, Jupiter in the second house is also very powerful, because Jupiter is in its own sign of Pisces in the second house, which shows there's going to be like material success with the song, that it's just going to be like a really fun song. Like a second house is all about what something has. So the song has a lot of fun in it, and a lot of like kind of trippy elements, like those samples that come in once and don't come in again. The smoking dope is already kind of, evoking the idea of something psychedelic, because, it's beyond her just being aggressive in the song in the way she's competing and saying how her position, her status, or, she's kind of, flexing and all that kind of stuff. But like, she's just also just having fun. And she's also just doing it in a way that really works, that, it's not like fake. Um, and you could see that with this Jupiter being in the second house, as well as the Neptune in the second house, which I already mentioned is just kind of about futuristic stuff as well, together with that ascendant. So the ascendant has to do with what you notice about the song first, so it feels new, basically. And it's kind of funny that the song's called Hot Shit, and the ascendant's in Purva Bhadrapada, which is like literally about like a physical, spiritual, or energetic transformation of fire that would be applied to the lower vibrational elements of something, which would be like shit. And and really the idea there, yeah, I guess I already said it, but it has to do with the energy of like really just getting stuff done. And this is the kind of song that could motivate people to work out, or just getting, amped up for whatever they're about to do. And so with regard to that, then the next thing over, we got Mars in its own sign of Aries in Ashwini, which is all about trying to get things done. And Mars is its own sign, so it's really going to be super effective. Mars is about going into battle, or just trying to being amped up about what you want to do. Mars in the third house is super powerful, because the third house is all about courage and energy to get things done. And then we've got we've got Aries, which is all about, that burst of fiery energy to get things done. So this is like really masculine energy that's effectively going after what it wants to go after, and nothing's getting in its way. And it's at the beginning of Aries and Ashwini, which is all about just starting something new and getting people behind you to do it, which could also have to do with the featured artists on the song, Kanye and Little Durk. And then you got Uranus in Bharani as well, and Rahu in Bharani. So I mean, Uranus and Rahu are both kind of more extreme, somewhat. Well, they're different in their own ways, but they both have a more intense quality of like fiery energy as well. Like Rahu has a lot of smoke around it. Uranus is known to be very explosive. So I mean, having Mars, Mercury, I mean Mars, Rahu and Uranus all in the third house, all in Aries, it means this is a very effectively energizing yang or masculine energy song. You know, as Cardi said herself, it feels more masculine, which is really interesting that she said that. But then that being said, the next house over in the fourth house, you see you've got you got Venus in Rohini in Taurus. And so Venus is Taurus is ruled by Venus. So Venus is the ruler of its own house. The fourth house is also very feminine, you know, because it's more the natural ruler of it would be the moon, because the natural sign of it would be Cancer. And so, and Rohini is the divine feminine nakshatra of the whole chart. Of you got 27 nakshatras, as you could see, from 1 in Ashwini to 27 in Ravati. And so out of all 27 of those, Rohini is the most feminine. Venus is expressing femininity as well as beauty and creativity and bringing things together. So it's so interesting that and so Mars is the ruler of its own sign, and Aries is the most masculine of the 12 signs. Taurus is the most feminine of the 12 signs, and Rohini is even more feminine. So it's the most feminine part of Taurus. So it's interesting that this song actually effectively has a masculine and a feminine energy just fully in their own power at the same time. And in a way, you know, like Cardi B, even though she's on this very masculine energy song and she's coming into it with all of this kind of aggressive, competitive, you know, energy that's she's really good at executing on the song, you know, and then she's got these two other dudes in the song that are doing that as well. She's also coming across very female, very feminine, very, and I'm not sure how that is, but she's just, I mean, Cardi B is just, she's established herself at this point as just such a kind of like her own archetype, you know, where initially I felt like she was kind of like, oh, this is the new Nicki Minaj or something. But at this point, you know, Cardi B just is this modern archetype of feminine expression. I remember when Cardi B first got really popular, I just knew so many women that were just kind of like, just really into her album and songs and her interviews and just her, like everything about her, because she just had such a confident, you know, unself-conscious way of being that was just kind of, and she was like uncompromisingly feminine as well, but in a way where she had this energy of like self-empowerment that felt very modern and still does feel very important to just culture in general. And so in this fourth house, you've got Mercury together with Venus, and Mercury is in Marigasharsha. So Venus is really in this like divine feminine, very feminine sign in the fourth house, which is about emotions and internal world. And so Cardi B is really expressing her from her internal, you know, just empowerment, really. She's from her own internally empowered divine feminine. She's expressing and communicating in Mercury the things that she finds beautiful, because she finds this type of rap beat very beautiful, this type of song very beautiful, and then including like someone like Kanye, who's, you know, just a legendary, well-established rapper, and an up and coming, real, you know, new rapper, Little Durk. Like she finds all of that really exciting and beautiful, and she's, you know, excited to express her femininity as including the masculine like expressions with her, like, and it's not everyone that can pull that off, you know, and still come across as feminine as Cardi B does. So that's a really interesting way to look at it. And then we have the sun in Ardra. I'm just kind of going house to house now because she's got all this stuff in connection here. Basically, if we count, yeah, I mean, we got to count the first house. So she's got, you know, basically planets in all 6 of the first 6 houses for this song, and this is the birth chart for the song. Hot shit. And yeah, so then you got the sun in Ardra, so that's like kind of the deeper vibe of the song is very it has like that energy of competition, and it's in the fifth house of creativity. So you could say this is a song that's effectively expressing like um competition in a way that's really deep, that's not just superficial, that's like this is really an expression of one's own power through the medium of, you know, you could say like battle rap in a way. Like it's like one of the core types art of rap songs is the type of rap song where you're just kind of saying how good you are and how you just you're expressing your own power and abilities in comparison to others who might be like hating or competing or whatever. You're just kind of like expressing this competition energy. And so her sun being in the third pada of Ardra, as it is, that means there's like this double air element with a fire element of the sun. Let me double check that. Yeah, that sun is in, you see how that says pada 3 of Ardra and with that sun. So her sun sign is like or the song sun sign is just in this area of competition, because Ardra is all about competition. Gemini in its peak is all about competing ideas. And in the third pada of Ardra, it's going to be even more like just like more oxygen being given to the fire of the sun. And the sun is really about a soul expression. So the song really isn't about like any battle rap with anybody. This is what it's really saying. And it's in the fifth house, which is about creativity. So the deep creativity of the song is about just like not holding back and expressing from your heart whatever you're out to do for the day or your goals are that you want to work towards for the day or the week or whatever. And it's about just giving it all of that fiery energy that you're going to get to the bottom of solving your problems, which is also what Ardra and Gemini are about. And you're going to like be able to express your own ideas effectively and from your heart and not just superficially. So now having Lilith at the beginning of Punarvasu in conjunction with that sun means maybe there's a little bit like of a chip on the shoulder. You know, there's something that you want to prove, or there's something you're trying to get to you're not at yet. So there's this feeling of like, you know, even though Cardi B is already pretty well established as one of the most famous female rappers and just rappers in the world, like this is the first single from her new album, and she's still like has this hunger to prove herself as, you know, a really exciting, authentic, relevant, cutting edge artist. And so yes, I mean that Lilith with the sun just gives it an extra edge like that, because Lilith is going to be more like the edge, the thing that's kind of feels a little wonky, you know, that you haven't like resolved quite yet. And then you got the moon in Pusha in Cancer. Moon is like the fourth planet that's in its own sign. Is that right? Because we got Saturn's in its own sign of Aquarius. What else do we have here? Jupiter in its own sign of Pisces. Mars is in its own sign. Venus, oh my God. So that's like 5. That's 5 planets in their own sign. That's unbelievable. So the moon in Pusha, you know, this is a second feminine element, really, because Cancer is feminine, moon's feminine. So, and because the sun in Gemini is not going to be as happy as the moon in Cancer, it means ultimately the song is a feminine song. It's a feminine song that's leading with masculine energy. So it's like, it's almost like a superficial layer of like yang masculine energy of it just being like a, you know, amped up, you know, going into battle kind of song. But then like the feminine energy underneath is really there because it's all about Cardi and her, you know, mission to just have a successful album. And it's also a song that's ultimately about self-love, like all the competition kind of stuff, because we have this sun in Ardra. It's showing that like when you have like your heart in the realm and your soul in the realm of like competition, it's not really about petty competition. It's not about anything petty. It's more about deep, wanting to really do what you're here to do on earth kind of energy. And so with that in mind, the song has the moon in Cancer in the sign in the nakshatra of Pushya. And Pushya is, it's kind of like the wise leader, the wise teacher or guru. And the moon is all about the mind of the song. So it's like the song is kind of, and it's in the second pada of Pushya, which is going to be more earthy, more practical, and just trying to like get the bills paid and get basic needs met. And this is all happening in the sixth house, which is about overcoming obstacles and being of service and stuff like that. So what all that means, but the moon is really happy because it's in Cancer. So like it's in its own sign. And Cancer is all about your own internal world and emotions and stuff like that as well. So the mind of the song has a lot of wisdom behind it in overcoming obstacles, because the sixth house is all about obstacles. Pushya is all about wisdom. And the moon being in its own sign means the mind of the song is very effective in overcoming the obstacles it sets out to achieve. So I mean, there's so many signals here that this is like just sort of destined to be a very successful song, I guess you could say. And it already is, because it's been like, this came out like 2 weeks ago, and the music video is trending #2 on YouTube. That's and I'm going to cover the music video next. But yeah, that's pretty much the songs chart. Let's jump over to the music video. And I'll say, there's nothing I've seen so far that, let me look at it one more time. But I mean, if I were to break it down between like Cardi B as opposed to Little Durk and Kanye West's contributions to the song vocally, I mean, I don't know if I could even do that. I mean, let me just think about that for a second. So I mean, Little Durk is new, and Kanye is more established, and Cardi B is like in the middle. She's been around for like a few years now. And so as far as like public consciousness, I think she's probably been around much longer. And even Little Durk, I heard, has been making music for at least like around 10 years or something, but or longer actually. So I don't know. I mean, Little Durk, you could say, would be Mars, because that's like the younger energy of like trying to prove something in terms of masculine. Cardi B, you could give her the sun and Ardra, and also the moon in Pushya, and also the Venus in Rohini, because she feels like she's all three of those. I mean, so I'm just saying Little Durk, he's a little bit more like focused on just like trying to impress people because he's new. And so he has a very at first I didn't know what to make of his verse, and I wasn't too sure what I thought of it. But I mean, honestly, like he has a few things he adds into his verse that I like, that are kind of new flavors to the type of rap he's doing. Like the way he says just a few of his ad libs, and then his delivery. It just has, he comes from the same, like I guess he's friends with 21 Savage. I don't know if 21 signed him on his label, but he comes from the same area, similar background and story, I imagine. But but he's really like trying to prove himself as an individual, coming from this really I don't know, I've kind of lost my train of thought there. I don't know. I mean, he's got some unique things that he's really throwing into it, but his rap is a lot more focused than Kanye's or Cardi B's, which are a little bit more all over the place. Like Little Durk is pretty much just saying that I don't know. There's something like a very going into battle about his verse, let's say. And so having Mars and Ashwini, I mean, and Mars being the youngest expression of masculine energy out of the 7 planets, I would say that could represent Little Durk giving that fresh energy in the 3rd house to the song, along with the explosiveness and kind of chaotic elements of his verse, with Rahu being chaotic and Uranus being explosive in the end of Aries in Bharani, which is, well, yeah, it's probably enough said about that. And then finally, Kanye, I don't know. I feel like since Kanye was also like co-producer on this song, I think he's going to show up more as Jupiter and Saturn, as like the person who kind of has seen it all at this point, and he's made a million features and co-production credits and et cetera, et cetera. So like, I mean, having Kanye like on the song as producer and the last verse, I feel like that shows up as Jupiter in Pisces. You know, he's going to have the more futuristic, trippy, out there ideas that are also simultaneously grounded in Uttara Bhadrapada, which is all about bringing things back down to earth, that are really out there, and like doing it in a way that just works basically. And then Saturn at the very beginning of the first house in Danishta in Aquarius, it's kind of the same thing because that's also in part of fortune. So whatever Kanye is contributing to the song is really what's giving it its fortune. If you take Kanye's production and verse out of the song, I mean, it's really not going to be like half as good. I mean, that's the truth, you know? And it's not because Kanye just kind of like, well, it's because he's a great producer. And it's because he probably, I mean, who knows? He's also known to help people with their writing and connect people with other people. It's not about Kanye doing everything. He's more of a director. So, you know, he'll hire the right people to help co-write the song to make it as good as possible for just little details. And so that would be, Danishta is all about orchestrating. It's the sign of a director or conductor or producer, which Kanye is in the song. I mean, as far as his verse goes, I think it's kind of like a mediocre at best verse from Kanye, but it sounds cool. And in a way, it's cool that his verse isn't better because it gives more ability for Cardi B's verse and Little Durk's verse to shine. Kanye's not trying to like hog the spotlight on Cardi B's lead single, you know? He's trying to be supportive of his friend Cardi B, and which makes him look good too, you know, because then he winds up on her big song. So, and then the song's successful, and so that's like the part of fortune there. So, yeah, so that's the song. That's the birth chart of the new Cardi B single, "Hot Shit." And, and now I'm gonna maybe more quickly just look at the birth chart of the music video, which came out just a couple days ago, and let's see if we see anything different or complementary. Music video is really futuristic and kind of surrealist. You got some shots of I don't know if I should open up the video, but I mean, you could just check out the video yourself. And the music video has some shots of being in the desert with Little Dirk on top of some giant statue, and she's on top of a building, and she's got like gravity defying boots on, and she's kind of looks like she might be a cyborg. And Kanye's in the video in a very surreal way with just like a really weird, you know, metallic looking liquid all around him. And Kanye's kind of looks like his wardrobe is inspired by Elon Musk's Cybertruck aesthetic, and Kanye's wearing a mask where you don't see his face. So I mean, those are some of the elements of the video. And then Little Dirk has all these like lasers all around him, and he's like under a bridge somewhere. Like just everything in the video feels simultaneously futuristic and surreal, like not like a grounded futuristic, but just really kind of like a dream or something. Music video is very dreamlike. So the ascendant and moon are together in the music video in Purva Ashada, which is another very fiery sign because it's in the middle of Sagittarius, which is the moving fire sign. Purva Ashada is all about trying to go after a goal, being very ambitious and very active and pursuing a goal. And so the music video is just kind of like go, 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 you know, we're like, and it's got all these futuristic images. So it's trying to achieve something. It's trying to make progress towards some kind of, I don't know, like some kind of new aesthetics, I guess, you know, and it's edited very quick. So everything about it's very amped up in that way. And not only that, but we have the ascendant and moon both in the first pada or part of Purva Ashada, which makes it even more fiery because the first pada of Purva Ashada is going to be the fire pada. And it's going to be more, well, fire on top of fire of Sagittarius, basically. So the mind of the video is very fiery and ambitious and trying to just do something different. And the ascendant is like what the video you're going to notice immediately about it. So the mind and the way it comes across, I mean, so for a song or music video to have the moon and ascendant in conjunction like that, it means it works. It means it actually achieves what it wants to achieve, like totally. like without any question. And then if we jump over to the sun, so I mean, this is only the music video is released like 2 weeks after the song. So the sun moves through like 30 degrees in 30 days, basically. That's why, you know, you can tell someone's sign by the month they're born into or whatever. So the sun earlier in the month was in the middle of Gemini, and now it's at the end of Gemini. So it was in Ardra when the song came out. So like the heart of the sun is about the heart and the soul of something, what it's really deeply trying to express. So all of that was for the song itself, that was happening in the middle of Ardra, which was more about like that fiery like competition, like trying to prove yourself or something like that. Now the sun is further along, it's in Punarvasu, it's at the very end of Gemini, and I think it's in the second pada of Punarvasu. Yeah, pada 2, you can see right there. And so that sun in pada 2 of Punarvasu, what that's really expressing is now like the music video, as opposed to the song release, the music video has more to do with something that's like really trippy and out there, pretty much. It's less about the competition. I mean, you hear Little Dirk, you know, like making all these threats, and Cardi B's talking about, you know, catching body number 2 or whatever, and so there's all of this kind of language that's very like Kanye's talking about him and Pusha T jumping out of the bushes, you know, to do whatever, you know, to defeat their enemies of some sort. So like everything about the song there's this energy of aggression and competition that's very overt. But in the music video, it's just like really trippy and out there, and it's more subverting that message. It's not adding to it, because it's not really about any literal like enemies that any of them are after or competing with, really. I mean, it's more just that that's an energy to come from to make a really, you know, I guess not uplifting, but very like energizing song. Because, you know, just going back to that other chart, you know, you really like that Mars and Aries in the third house is like just so key to that chart, you know, because that's just the energy energizing the whole chart like really effectively with that yang masculine energy. And then so anyway, now we've got sun in this more like trippy cosmic space of Punarvasu, and it's together with Mercury and Lilith. So it's like it's just communicating with Mercury, you know, like from the heart, you know, the idea of like creativity itself, of things that are really cosmic and out there and trippy. And so Gemini in the middle, it's more like serious, and then at the end of Gemini, it gets more like less serious and more just enjoying like creative possibilities. And so, and then in fact, you also have now Venus has moved into Mrigasharsha in conjunction with the part of fortune there. And so Venus is at the very end of Taurus, so it's still like in its own sign of feminine energy. And but the part of fortune is there with it in the Gemini sign. But having Venus and part of fortune together in Mrigasharsha, it just means that Mrigasharsha is all about discovering and finding really beautiful things in the forest. It's symbolized by this deer in the forest, this baby doe deer that's going around and just looking for this beautiful nectar. You know, it's looking for beautiful things in the forest. And so the song, the video, all the different contributors to the song, it's just a collection of things that are ultimately about creativity and beauty, which is what Venus is about. And then having the part of fortune there in combination means it's a really effective video. It's really successful at highlighting all 3 of the rappers on the song. They all come across like equally like cool in a really unique way that's unique to each of them. You know, each shot each like Cardi's on top of the building, you know, defying gravity, and then she's in this weird like robot AI space that reminds me of this Bjork music video. It might even be an homage to the Bjork music video about love. I forget what that song's called, but it was directed by Chris Cunningham, who was a really great director in the 90s. Worth checking out if you haven't seen it. All is full of love. Yeah. Where it's like Bjork getting like, you know, inspected by a bunch of robots and robot arms or something. And or it's these robots in love. That's what it is. Bjork's not even in it. It's these two robots just like in love. And in this video, you've got a very similar set, or it's probably a lot of it's CGI and green screen, but you got Cardi B just like where she's like got this fire in her hands, symbolizing the masculine energy and the divine soul being expressed. And then these robots are just kind of looking at her. It's like she's beyond the technology in this futuristic world. You know, I could see that. So it's like she's collecting all these beautiful images, and the director of the video is collecting these beautiful, you know, ideas and images that are, you know, evocative, that are like that spark the imagination of like, you know, is she a cyborg? Why is she like climbing on a building, or what's going on here? And why is Kanye surrounded by this weird metallic liquid? And like, why has he got a bike, and why is he wearing a mask? You know, and Little Jerk, why is he over there under that bridge in the middle of nowhere with lasers going everywhere? It's very surreal and dreamlike, but it's all these images that are designed to just be inherently enjoyable, you know, just kind of having beauty in themselves and not needing to mean anything beyond that. Because the deeper meaning of the video is just about the infinite possibilities that Punarvasu is all about, that it points to. And that's what the video is really communicating, which in a sense is just about like pure creativity for creativity's sake and no real extra meaning attached to it. So yeah, everything else in this music video chart is going to be pretty similar because they're only 2 weeks apart. So I'm not really going to get into like, you know, Mars again. It's still where it was before, or Jupiter or anything else. I mean, the houses have changed a little bit for all the planets, but yeah, I don't think that's so important either to really emphasize here. I mean, I think we got to the heart of what makes the music video really cool and different than the song. And it's just that it goes more into this like cosmic creativity, playful, fun direction of Venus and the part of fortune in Mrigasharsha and the sun in Punarvasu, as opposed to, I'll show you on the song chart real quick one more time, that where the sun was in Ardra, where there was more of like a competition edge to the song without the video. And then Venus was just kind of like in its own energy of like femininity, and Mercury was, yeah, I mean, those were kind of similar, but I mean, the big picture of it's kind of similar. But then you had the moon in this like, I don't know. I mean, I already kind of went over it all. So, I mean, the things that have changed, but they are all complementary, you know, basically. So, but in both of these charts just like look really good. I mean, they look like whatever this chart is, it's going to be very successful. And so the fact that it's a song and a music video, it's like these are very effective songs and videos. And there's one more technique I can do just for fun, which won't really change anything, just, you know, might add another level of emphasis. But we're going to say the predominator of this music video chart is the sun, because it's above the horizon of the ascendant descendant line, and it's in angular house of the seventh house. So that means like the real essence of this of the music video, the captain of the ship of this chart of the music video is in Punarvasu. It's in the infinite possibilities of creativity and spaciousness and just imagination. And the ruler of that is going to be Mercury. It's just like, so it's like the ideas are being effectively communicated. So the ruler of the chart is this Mercury Sun conjunction here, really, that's just effectively communicating in a deep way something that might on the surface seem very superficial. It's just like random images of weird futuristic stuff that doesn't even make sense, that's really surreal and dreamlike. And yet that's like a beautiful thing in itself. Like it, like that actually is really deep, because it's just sparking the imagination of people around the world when they see these images. You know, it's going to inspire more like creative things in the world. And then if we go back to the song and see what the ruler, so this, we're going to start off just by, before we finish up, we're going to say this is a night chart because the sun is below the horizon. And the moon can't be the predominator of the chart because it's in the sixth house, which makes that not allowed, which makes the sun the predominator of the chart in Ardra. And then the ruler of the sun would be Mercury again, because sun's Gemini, except in this chart, Mercury is going to be back in the fourth house, not in the same sign or house as the sun in this chart. So what all that means is, what the song is really about is is the soul really wanting to prove itself in a competing way. It's kind of like, it's not really at the end of the day about competing with someone else or like conquering enemies or something like that. It's just about really expressing, because at the end of the day, everybody is their own best competitor, their own worst enemy, their own obstacle to overcome, and their own journey to realize is in finding their own full expression. And so this song is about Cardi B just wanting to express her own energy of and passion for music, and for making really creative, ambitious pop music, basically. And so that sun in Ardra, that's really that's the predominator. That's like the captain of the ship of the chart of the song, and then the ruler of that is the Mercury in the fourth house. And yeah, that sun is in the fifth house. So it's like the captain of the ship is in the fifth house, which is all about creativity. And and then the ruler of that is like just the ideas that come from being at home and from her own emotions that are just like a little deeper, and are in Mrigasharsha, because that Mercury's in Mrigasharsha, which is all about, just ideas and images and sounds that she finds really exciting and beautiful and fun, and communicating those. So in a way, there is something kind of like superficial at the heart of the song, which is it's just supposed to sound cool. But that's also not really totally superficial, because what it's feeding into is this passion to to express greatness that other people can be inspired by, and other people can also be inspired by the things in it that are cool, that will progress the craftsmanship of making really cutting edge beats and ways of rapping over them and stuff like that, or whatever else listening to the song inspires people to do. So yeah, that's my reading of the song and music video for the new Cardi B single, Hot Shit. So thanks for checking it out. I hope you have a good rest of your day.